Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. You have what you want, and that's another win over the Denver Broncos. A streak that I think is really significant and sets up for the rest of this. We're going to get into what does it mean? How tough is this defense? Is it real? I need to know. We're going to get into all of your questions as well. Welcome to RGR Football. Welcome, everyone. He's Dan Harms. How are you, Dan?
Up? I am fantastic. I'm fantastic, even though the Chiefs' offense is not fantastic. I'm feeling good. And I tweeted out last night, I think that learning to win with your defense, having the defense be the best part of your team is a little bit weird. It's a bit of an adjustment. But I don't think it's a bad thing.
Right?
It's not necessarily a bad thing. Like having the defense be legitimately top, I would say it's top 7 in the NFL right now, playing top 7 in the NFL.
Yeah.
I could live with that.
That'll work.
That would get it done.
Feels like it's home. Like I remember those days. Welcome, everybody.
2013.
Yeah, right. Welcome, everyone. We hope that you're doing well. This is RGR Football. If you're new to us, like, subscribe, do the bell button thing. This is where we answer your questions. We're just kind of giddy about the defense overall. So, like, we're not going to go too deep in it. We'll get right into your questions because I know we'll have a ton of them tonight. I want to start, though, with a big thank you to Ben Brockback.
Thank you, Ben. So
Appreciate
much.
you.
Incredible.
I guess you've been busy because that's kind of a big one without even asking a question. So, cheers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. I hope you guys are all doing well. It's 24 hours after the game, or not even. It's 20 hours after the game. And I see that there are some comments in here. If you are new to the channel, make sure if you're going to ask a question, put your question marks at the beginning that way of the question. Helps me find them a whole lot. I'm sure Aaron Morrow, our fearless mod, will be here. I know Cole's in here too. He'll point out some things to me as well if I miss them. But let's get started. Oh, and thank you, Lego.
Boom.
You took the words right out of my mouth, and I appreciate that.
Helping out. Love it.
Okay, let's get into it. And I think Jimmy is set. Hot take. There's a fire sale in Vegas. Everyone must go. Each team can claim 2 players, no strings attached except for the contract. We draft first. He's taking Renfrow and Crosby. Who would you take?
Literally the only 2 players on that roster that I would even remotely consider, to be honest with you. Perhaps Josh Jacobs. I think you can make a case that Josh Jacobs brings a certain explosiveness to this team that they don't have at the running back position. Mm-hmm. But I think that those are the guys that I would take, not really ask twice.
Yeah, I mean, Crosby is a no-brainer. I mean, an absolute no-brainer. So that makes perfect sense to me. I like Renfrow. I don't know that he fits what the Chiefs want to do. You know what I mean? Like
he fits what I want the Chiefs to do. See, that's all that matters in this question. Okay. I want them to do.
All right, I can get down with that. And the only reason I bring that up is to say that I like Ryan Edwards, and I think after they cut everybody else, I'd probably pick him up as a free agent because I like what he brings, and I think he's got a lot more ceiling to go, in my opinion. So, yeah, good question, Jimmy.
It was, and I know people are going to talk about Darren Waller, but Darren Waller's dealing with injuries, and unfortunately, he's dealt with injuries quite a bit over his career, and he's getting older too. He's not like the young gun that he used to be. I think specifically, you obviously want to go 2 tight ends, but they want to go 3 wide with 1 tight end. So it fits more what they want to do, and I'm still taking Kelsey over Waller. So
yeah, and that's the thing is I don't know that there's enough to keep him happy in this with Kelsey, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Is it the players that are dropping passes, or is it just the sheer velocity that Mahomes is throwing that causes the drops? I don't think it's the velocity. I think they're all used to playing with the speed that his passes come in. Do you?
Yeah, they've done this is their 4th year dealing with his passes. So for me, it's more about just concentration. No one is, because this is not like guys are dropping passes in coverage. Like they're not being broken up or a little bit of contact. They're just wide open drops.
Yeah.
So it's just players dropping passes.
And for me, it's a lot of accuracy on Mahomes' part. I think
Yeah,
that
a little bit too.
I think it's taken a hit this season. Amongst everything else, I don't think it's quite on target as it used to be. Andy mentioned that we're preparing for the Raiders and the Broncos this week. Do you think that affected the offensive play calling performance? I honestly don't. The play calling, I think, is pretty straightforward. They know how to separate that. That's what Andy does. He works a couple weeks ahead at all times. There's always someone in the room reviewing the film from the third opponent out, as I understand it. So the performance, though, what would you think was the impact on that?
Broncos were no threat.
Okay.
Never were. And I think they knew it from the get-go. We talked a little bit about it last night. And as we talked more about it, the more it won me over that they never felt like the Broncos were ever going to threaten them. Not even after that 10-minute drive. Like there was nothing that they could do that would come close to winning that game. So it really does feel like Andy was just like, okay, this worked, and we're just not going to do it again because we don't have to.
Right. And at the end of the day, I think that is what it comes down to. I mean, hey, I am trying something new. There's a new feature here in the stream, you guys. So bear with me a second. Do want to say thank you to Ben again for the super chats and all of you super chatters. That button's down over there. If you want to support us, please ask a question tonight. I know there's always some new folks, but if you do hit the super chat, please ask a question and we will make sure that we get to it. And if you want to become a member, that's the only way that you get the extra videos and you get into the Discord. Discord is a lot of fun and a lot of good conversation over there. Please feel free, go sign up. It's a month-to-month deal. If you dig it for a while and you don't after that, not a big deal. You can come and go as you please. We have a number of guys that just hit, and ladies, sorry, that just hit like the 1-year membership. And that's a significant one. And I'm going to get back to doing the member chats on Discord. So that's how it's all going to work. And when you do join the Discord, if you're a rookie above, that's how you get in there. Email me at this address, rgrpodcast@gmail.com. That will make sure that I do my job and get you added to it. That's always an adventure, right? Let's see. We got Rose. Where's Jay's? How does the offense become great again? And I assume he means not just moving the ball better, but putting up more points.
Mm-hmm. Well, it all starts with confidence. They have no confidence right now. And even with, the Raiders playing, they don't have enough built up to give them confidence. And every time something little happens, like a drop, every person feels like it creeps right into their head, specifically Patrick Mahomes. And it's really starting to affect the way the offense goes. So they need a couple games together where they put up probably 21 to 28 points on offense consistently to get that back, to be able to get that confidence, because having momentum and having consistency and having proof that what you're doing is working and you're actually paying it off is the only way to get back to what they've done.
I agree. Like it has to be controlled balance. It can't be like this half-hearted effort where I'm gonna play tight in the first 15 and then I'm gonna let it all loose, because you're not fooling anybody. Teams are waiting for you to get through that first script, and they know that you're going to go back to trying to go deep and trying to take advantage of them in ways that they can defend properly. You got to keep them more honest. I think that's what it all comes back to for me. Okay, so now this is definitely a challenge, but here, take this one and I'll stack some things up.
All right. Thank you for the question, Lego. Do y'all think Andy Reid is playing possum with our offense, saving them for the playoffs? We kind of mentioned this yesterday, and I made sure everyone that was listening to wrote it down. But if that's what Andy Reid's doing, I literally will never say anything bad about the man ever again. Like, he's just like, I don't need any of this stuff. Like, I made this entire playbook over the offseason, and I haven't had to touch it at all. And we're still 8-4. So I'm just going to wait. But I personally don't believe that that's what he's doing. So we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot to unpack there. I'm not sure.
We'll just never. I don't think we'll ever know.
Right. That's the hardest part. Why did it seem like we couldn't stop a running back? Because they can't. They don't prioritize stopping the run. And I think last night showed you why, as well as some of the other games where, I mean, you hit the magic mark. If you're Javonte Williams, you hit 100 yards, you hit 165 from scrimmage for him, and you weren't close to being in that ball game. And that's the way the defensive coaching staff thinks as well. Like, we're going to give you the run. If you can run all over us and beat Derrick Henry and run us out of it, more power to you, but we think we're going to get you stopped.
The whole thing about it, it was a conscious decision. No one in that game outside of Javonte Williams beat them, but he didn't beat them with 20, 30-yard runs. He was just able to grind out yards because that's what he does. He breaks tackles, he runs guys over, and he was making guys like they were actually doing a good job of getting to him in the first 3 yards of a run. But he's able to generate so much power and leg movement and tackle breaking that he would take those and make them like 5, 6, 7, 10-yard gains. And then they were just like, we don't care about you in the flat. Just do whatever you want. We're just going to make sure you can't get the ball deep on us. And that's basically what they did.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to keep happening too. Chris, thank you. Is this Chiefs team the 2020 Steelers team of last year, meaning the style of winning is not sustainable? I don't know that I agree would agree with that, because we've seen 2 eras of the defensive side and like 5 games in a row controlling your opponent that much. I think you can build on that. And I wouldn't say that it's as up and down and fluky as Pittsburgh was. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
Well, the Steelers offense was bad in part because they didn't use motion. They don't have a good quarterback, and they were forced to just throw it short because they couldn't actually air it out. Like, teams' defenses against the Chiefs know that they can air it out anytime they want to, and they have the quarterback to get it done. It's more about Patrick being in this box he doesn't want to be in. And it's made him a little inaccurate because I think that he's forcing him, because the big play, like when Mahomes gets the big play, like Brian talked about it last night, when he gets that play, that's when he becomes unstoppable. You guys remember the Super Bowl when they won. The offense struggled as soon as Patrick got Tyreek Hill on Wasp. It all broke. Literally, they could do everything they wanted to, and they did the rest of the game. So he desperately right now, as a quarterback that he is, the young guy, he needs a big play to get going. And outside of the script and things like that, it's hard for him because he doesn't want to go 10, 12, 13, 7. He doesn't want to do that. That's not his style of play.
I'm totally with you there. Chiefs comments, thank you. Of the 3 redshirt rookies, although I would argue Gray isn't a redshirt because he is playing.
Yeah.
But Kano, Powell, and Gray, who do you think will be the biggest contributor, say, next season specifically?
Next season, I would think it'd be Gray. He's getting the reps. He's getting on the field. And unfortunately, injuries for Kando make it so you don't know if he's going to be able to progress forward. You haven't seen anything from Powell to say that he can contribute in this offense because he's been on the practice squad all year. So the only guy you can really go off of is Gray.
Yeah, I'm with you. Keith, what's the extent of Fenton's injury? We know that it's lower extremity. That's all we know. They have not given us any details. In fact, I just asked 2 of the beat reporters last night, and they're like, we're not getting answers when we ask. So it's going to be basically just everybody spy on practice and see.
Yeah.
The beat reporters get to see the beginning of practice every day. When he starts participating, we'll know that he's better, or if Andy ever addresses it. I have not seen Andy's presser from today, but I didn't see anything about him addressing it.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah, I mean, hey. Why the reluctance to utilize Josh? It's frustrating. Pono, I understand. I think there's something inhibiting it. I talked about this on the Locked On Chiefs. It's coming out in an hour. You guys can get into that, but this was clearly a decision to feed Byron. They did what we've been asking them to do. And despite the drop, he only 1 catch out of 4 targets. I hope that they continue that, because clearly they don't feel like they want to do that with Josh, who has a lot more experience and has been overall career-wise a more impactful player in the passing game. But I'm glad to see that it's Pringle, and I can't really tell you the why.
Yeah, it's.
Do you have any
this
theories?
Is going to be a question. This is going to be a question everyone asks. There wasn't even a target. Okay, he didn't even get a target. That tells me that Patrick Mahomes doesn't feel comfortable throwing him the football, and it comes down to this: as Patrick Mahomes' career has progressed, he throws the ball to open players. the majority of the time, it's scheme dependent. Now, if you watch Justin Herbert, if you watched him yesterday, how many of those throws did he throw to his players in one-on-one situations where they weren't necessarily open?
Right.
A lot of them, and they came down with them. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, I think it's mostly Andy Reid wearing off on Patrick Mahomes. They don't want to throw those situation balls. I hate that. I personally can't stand it. It makes me disgusted because that means that you trust scheme more than your player's ability to win in situations. With I think they have multiple players that can do that, including Josh Gordon. So it's a mental check off. Say, no, I'm not even going to look Josh Gordon's way because he cannot separate. But he has the ability to win 50-50 balls. So I don't get it.
It's risk management. I think they just don't like putting it. 50-50 is not near enough percentage in their favor for them.
And that's Andy Reid's problem.
Yeah. Tactics, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate the support. Glad you're back, bud. Have we done anything that beats too high safeties? And they have. You saw a post a couple weeks ago that was a big play. I can't remember who made that one. We saw the big over from Pringle the other day. That's a big play that beats too high. Like, it's in there.
Yeah.
It's not consistent. And I'm not sure exactly why. I think that's just Andy's tendency. Like, he's not one of those coaches that will say, I'm going to do this concept in the pass game where I'm going to run this run play until you stop it, which I think is a legitimate philosophy.
Yeah.
But that's not Andy's philosophy. So I think you're going to see them dabble. And then maybe when it gets to the playoff run, if they're in trouble, then maybe we'll see them use all those concepts together in a game.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing, because I think he's just like, I don't need to do this. They got 5 wins in a row. Like, why do I need to empty the bag? Why do I got to do stuff? Why do I need to do this, that? It's frustrating as all get out. But guess what? 5-game winning streak, boys. That's what it is.
I'm gonna take it, right? Brother Rick, thank you. I will let Chris know. Touchdown, Dirty Dan. Okay. Honestly, like, we've gotten so much feedback on the Locked On show, particularly on YouTube, about people getting their ears blown out because YouTube doesn't compress as well as the audio players. We've kind of gone away from that, but we'll try to bring it back if I can get them to do it so it's not like, like you're next to the drum at Arrowhead. That's what I'm trying to avoid. But thank you for the support, Rick, as always. Colin, how do you think we match up with the other division leaders? I think it's pretty plain. Like, they've lost to a couple of them early. This team is playing a lot better. There's no one that I'm scared of. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's right now, the way their defense is playing, they're going to have chances against any single one of those teams. So I'm feeling really good about the way they stack up.
Kevin, will they get Mahomes to quit hot dogging and start throwing properly? No,
probably
not. As soon as he retires, sure. But no, I hope that they can narrow it down and get him away from especially this, like we were talking about, the submarine throws.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too far, and he's not accurate enough. His no look, he's more accurate throwing no look passes than he is doing that right now.
Yeah,
it's driving me nuts.
People talk about his foot mechanics. His arm mechanics are why he's not completing passes. It's got nothing to do with his feet, because his footwork has always been that way. But when he's throwing the ball fine and he's coming through it properly and he's not dropping his shoulder down, not dropping his arm down, he's an accurate quarterback. We've seen it because the majority of the throws he's made up until this point have been that way. And this year, for some reason, we've seen much more manipulation of his arm.
Yeah. And Pie Dessert tie-in for you as well. Like, I don't think that's what the talking heads on ESPN and NFL Network are saying. I don't think they're being that enunciated about that's why, because everything that I've seen is just, Patrick's broken. He's not mechanically sound. It's not specific to that. Although, if it were, I would say, yes, that's totally fixable. That's a choice by Patrick in the way that he delivers the ball on those passes. You can go away from that if he wants. Yeah. It is something that he's, at this point, in my opinion, too comfortable with.
Yeah, it's almost like he's gotten into a habit at this point.
Seth, good question. Can we script all the plays, not just the first 15? Was this a struggle of the offense besides catching a clean ball? I mean, you can. You generally become predictable there. You can, like, scripting out 50 plays is probably overload for Andy.
Yeah.
But I would say it's repeatable. Just like the previous comment, if you run power right into the B gap with a pulling guard, run that until they can't run it anymore, until they make you stop it. That's what I would do.
What I would do if I was Andy, I would have 25 plays. And then when I found one that worked, like you said, I'd run it, and then I'd have an immediate counter off of that. immediate counter, run the exact same play, but do something different off of it to generate big plays. That's what I would do. But again, I'm not an NFL offensive coordinator. I don't call plays. I don't know if that will work. I'm just saying that's what I would do.
Next year, when you're calling at high school, then you can experiment.
Oh, yeah. That's what it's going to be.
1989, how are you? Do you think McCall's demotion is more about getting his attention, or is he really underperformed that much? I don't know that he's underperformed that much. He has had some nice plays. He's had a lot of drops, though, but so has everyone. I think this is more about giving the opportunity to Pringle more than taking the opportunity from McCall.
They're trying to find something. And in my opinion, they've made up their mind that McCall is McCall. I don't see any reason to believe that he has upside anymore. Like, what he is what he is. And that seems to be what they think too.
Yeah, I'm with you. Pono, I haven't gotten to any of the free agent class yet. We will get there, I promise you. Is this a Super Bowl team, Kevin? I can't tell you till we get there. But Frederick, what's your read on Willie Gay? It feels like he's got healthy and he correlates strongly with the defensive turnaround. I agree with that. It's also right about the time the guy on the cover for this video showed up. When Melvin Ingram gave them a front that they couldn't double two guys on, I think it changed things significantly from a scheme standpoint.
They eked out that win against the Giants, and then they brought Ingram in, and it's helped a whole lot. But Willie Gay's ability to do things that no linebacker on the staff can do is also why you need him on the field.
Yeah,
he's incredible.
I'm with you. Who's your midseason MVP?
Creed Humphrey, and it's just not it's not close at this point, guys. He's the only guy on this team that's played consistently great football.
The guy right left to him has been pretty close, though.
Yeah, the funny thing is no one talks about it.
I know, right?
Since his hand injury, his name has not been touched once, but he's just been great. He's just been great.
Steady Joe Tooney.
But
nothing bothers him.
So be Creed as a rookie. He's gonna be an all-pro center, I think. So
I think Dan and I are of the same mind on this. Dan, who called the plays last night?
Oh yeah, that was Eric Bieniemy. That was Eric Bieniemy, guys.
Yeah.
I think he's been calling them for a while because you don't get that frustrated with somebody for one game.
Except the Raiders game.
No, yeah. Well,
I'm pretty certain it wasn't. Like this is becoming a pattern here, folks. We'll talk about that in the offseason.
We will talk about that.
Pono, does Creed reach all-pro status this season?
I just said it.
If he continues this, well, but there's a difference. Like, does he get the votes or is he worth it? He's definitely worth it. Does he get the votes?
We'll see.
The all-pro voters are usually slow. A lot of times they're a year behind. So that's my only hesitation, but I think he could do it because he is getting talked up a lot.
And he's been the best center in football.
Yeah.
In football.
Yeah.
It's
not close. Stack bundles. If Bucks release AB, do you take a shot at him? Never in my lifetime. No.
Just no.
I can't put any plainer than that, Stack. Bill, is Patrick trying to submarine throws because he's overly concerned about tipped balls at the line of scrimmage? Was Bradley Chubb a factor there? No. He's trying not to run for his life and break the pocket. So he's trying to hang in there. And then he's trying to wrap passes around defenders because he hasn't broken the pocket. And I think that's a concerted effort to stay between the tackles. And I don't think it's worth it at this point.
No.
And Bradley Chubb was not much of a factor at all to me last night. And you guys heard me talk about him.
Didn't do much.
I don't need to run the guy down. Daryl needs more targets. Dude always makes big catches except for the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, I'm telling you, I still feel like White tipped it just a little bit. But yes, he didn't make that play. But he was also turned around facing. Daryl's great doing his job as a back. Backs catch like this.
Yeah, that's what I said. They're running this way. They just kind of hey, throw me the ball. I got it.
I think the angle of that attack was seriously a problem there. Row your boat. Let's see. That's what happens when I click it twice. Should Casey consider drafting Treylon Burks out of Arkansas? We talked about him a little bit last night. You're pretty high on him, right?
I like him. I like his skill set a lot. I'm a little when I get into the tape, I'll know more about the way he plays, but he's a little bit not very physical. We'll just say that. He's a guy who wants to use his speed and finesse. He's a big guy, though. Like, he's a big guy who doesn't play very big, which concerns me for NFL. College, you can get away with that, even in the SEC. Can't get away with that in the NFL.
Yeah, this is professional up here. I like some of the things he does as well. He's a day 2 guy for me all day long. I will not put him in the first round. And I will question how the film comes out to exactly where that'll be. Thanks, though, Ro. Seth, thank you for your support as always. Love what you guys do, and I know you put a lot of thought and effort into this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. No, it's not just complete BS.
Promise you. Not all of it. Not all of it.
There's a lot of work going into it, but thank you, Seth, and we appreciate you saying that. Pie, I was rowdy in person at the stadium last night. Did I see Reed make a Stone Cold-like move, turning the O-line into turnstiles? No, I didn't think so. Did I? I don't think they gave up a lot of pressure.
No, Reed was the best defensive lineman last night for the Chiefs.
Oh, I thought he meant Andy. Sorry, I misread that.
Yeah. No, Tyrann Reed was the best defensive lineman for the Chiefs last night. He was everywhere.
He was pushing it. That's the Jaron Reed that I've been waiting for.
We've been waiting for that guy. He just showed up.
and he seems like he's on the Frank Clark schedule now. First half of the season doesn't mean nothing. But if we're going to start ramping up, this is the time. You know what? I can complain about it all first half of the season. If that's what happens, I'm going to be okay with it. Frederick, thank you again. What address are we supposed to send our Dirty Dan apologies to?
Nothing. Don't send them out. Don't bother.
You don't have to. I ain't going to either. It's okay. Dan is who Dan is. I gave him plenty of props last night. I'm not going to butter him up any more than that. But it's okay to criticize people when they make bad plays and then go praise them when they make good plays. That's perfectly legit.
This is the Chiefs' defense this year. We gave them so much crap early in the season, but you don't apologize for it just because they started making decisions properly. You're allowed to change your opinion because things have changed. Yeah. That's how this works.
And good for him, because I'd counted him out. I didn't think he would get back to making plays like that. Now the question becomes, how many bad plays are you going to put up with until he makes another one of those plays?
Correct.
If he gets back to balance, then I have no problem with it. Brother Rick, thank you again.
Appreciate it.
What the offense needs is an explosive RB. Pass first use, they had Kareem Hunt and Damian Williams. Imagine the offense with 33.
Yeah, with Javonte Williams.
Javonte's not that explosive. He's not a guy that runs away from you. He just plays with power and balance and does everything well.
So I'm going to give you guys an opinion that I have not shared yet with anybody.
Ooh.
Because we've talked about it. We've been forced to defend Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay, we have been. I like the player. Okay, I always liked the player. He was my number one running back coming out. I'm trying not to just like go for it here. The Chiefs just absolutely botched their draft pick with Clyde. I still love the player. I think he does things that a lot of people disregard because he doesn't create a ton of huge plays. He doesn't have that speed. He never did. The Chiefs are going to draft a running back this year, early day 3. And I think the Clyde Edwards-Helaire experiment is almost over.
Really?
Yes, specifically because they're not creating. They refuse to use him for what he was best at in college. They refuse to. They have had 2 years of it now, and they don't want to. That's pretty obvious to me. They're also forcing him to try to get to the edge. That's not what he's good at. What he's good at is running between the tackles and catching the football.
Yeah.
I believe they're understanding that they should have drafted Jonathan Taylor if that's what they wanted to do. And so now I do believe they're going to look for a replacement in this coming draft on day 3. I hate saying it, but I do believe that's what they're going to do.
If they do, that will take quite a bit of humility because they don't like to admit they were wrong. I'll be surprised, but I will also tell you guys this: there's a lot of day 3 and quite frankly UDFA guys that I think will give you that explosive aspect. and contribute to a committee.
And it's not so much giving up on Clyde either. I know that's going to be a thing. It's about finding the explosiveness. But as you guys saw with the 49ers, Elijah Mitchell was a 6th-round draft pick. They traded up for Trey Sermon to be the guy. Elijah Mitchell won that job. That's what I think is going to happen because of the way you insert an explosive guy like that, especially when you're trying to get to the edge. If he starts being better in the games, that's just going to happen. That's why I said that. So
that's why the running back more than any others is the biggest crapshoot in this draft, in my opinion.
Like, it hurts me saying that. Like, I have pain in my gut from that reveal from you guys.
You don't need more than that. So deep breath. You got enough pain. Lego, thank you. We appreciate the support and the pride. If you guys would hit the like button, that does help us. The thumbs up is something that YouTube really cares about. So if you would all knock that out, we'd appreciate that. Sexy, how are you? How did Baker and Hughes fill in for Fenton? I was actually surprised by this when I went and did the review today. It was not it was not near close. I thought it was like platooning, like 60-40, whatever. It was Baker 11 snaps for Hughes and 51 for Baker.
Baker just flat out outplayed him.
Absolutely.
He legitimately showed that he could be a starter on this team. That probably makes corner slide down a little bit on their needs. Just a little bit. Because I think you're going to bring Fenton back. I think Baker is going to be here next year. I think you could reasonably, if you wanted to get cheap, Javarius Ward, if they legitimately wanted to, you probably could. So they might push corner down on their needs list a little bit.
Could be. That's a fair point. I was really happy. I was worried that Baker was not recovering, and that's why he had been inactive so much. That maybe we weren't going to see him till next season. He looked fine. I mean, he made a couple mistakes last night, as you would expect. I thought he looked fine. So it's a really good sign for him in his career as well. Thank you again. Guy, thank you as well. Notwithstanding the drop passes and Patrick getting up late with the baby, does it feel like Andy is designing the first 15 and then he's having EB call the balance of the game? That is pretty much exactly what I think is going on.
I was about to say, that's word for word what we think is happening.
Although I will say this, Guy, I think during the week when they're designing the first 15, I think it is like a three-way, a triangle of input that builds that first 15. But then I think it becomes a game flow play-by-play decision, and whoever's doing that, and we think it's EB, I think that's where it comes off the rails a little bit. Let's see. Tom, thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Love what you guys do. Thank you so much. Do you see PM's mechanics all over the place? A lot of baseball throws with the football, which leads to inconsistencies. Agreed. And it's placement. And I think, yes, receivers need to be able to catch behind them in the route. That's their job. But it makes it that much more difficult. And I think that leads to some of these tips in particular.
So let's do a real quick comparison. When you're throwing a baseball, sidearm, you have so much room for error because you can do this with your glove. You can do all the way over here. It's a football, and you have two extended arms. It changes the dynamic of where you're catching the ball, and a baseball is much easier to catch in different areas than a football is coming from here or coming up here. It changes everything. So, yeah, I do believe it's causing a lot of inaccuracies.
And mechanically, think about this. In order to catch a football, unless you're Nuke Hopkins, and you're one-handing everything.
Yeah.
In order to catch football, you need two hands on it, which means your whole body has to move to that position instead of doing that. It's a very different thing mechanically in that sport. But it is the inaccuracies of those weird throws, of the baseball-type throws, that he didn't use as much as a crutch. Like, I feel like he's going back to a crutch, and it's just not working. Thank you, Tom, though. Great question, and appreciate the support as always. Let's see, brother Rick. Thank you again. That's like 3. Very, very helpful. Thank you. What the offense needs is an explosive RB. Oh, wait. Did I already show this one? We already answered it. So,
yes, we did.
Yeah. And just to add one other thing, Javonte Williams was at the top of my list. Like, I thought he would go a little bit later, and they could have got him if they wanted to add to it. Would have loved to seen that, to tell you the truth. Aaron, I guess we're having some problem with the super chat. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. If they're not showing up,
I had no idea.
We will definitely check into that because that's a negative for us as well. But just continue to ask your questions, and if you want, just put question mark. Hey, this was my super chat.
Yeah, right.
I'll I'll continue
Just
digging
let
them
us know,
out
guys.
there.
Just let us know.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you letting us know. Bandwagon, man, I feel like Josh Gordon has been a waste.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
You're
At least it
not
was a
wrong
cheap
either.
contract. I didn't pay him a whole lot. Doug, how are you? Hello, Rogue Nation. Got in late, but thanks to RG for the gym. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
We cannot say thank you enough. You guys are great. I'm calling it Jermaine Johnson round 1. Mike, thank you for the support.
Appreciate it, Mike.
I hope that his evaluation lives up to your faith in him. Right now, I don't have him as near a first rounder, but hey, haven't done this film. That's just off of live viewing. So, in fact, Mike, at some point, like either hit me on Twitter or in the comments here. Tell me what you dig about him and what puts him over the top for you as a first rounder. I'd be interested to know. Maximo, thank you. Do you think Daryl Williams should be the starter?
No, I don't.
I think you have to follow through on the investment of that first round pick. So
I also just think Clyde's a better back than either Gore and Daryl. And I know that that's a unpopular opinion, but that's mine.
Okay, hey, that's fair. We got to disagree about something. Bill, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Should Andy take over the play calling from EB for the rest of the season? If EB is calling the plays, is a sign that Andy might retire soon? And his wide receiver coach changed from Greg Lewis to Blamar part of the execution issues. Ooh, that's a loaded one. Yep. Go ahead. You hit him first.
So the first part I won't address, unfortunately. I do have a Dan's Rants return tomorrow, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this. And I do think that the wide receiver change is being a bit of an issue. And I don't know why. I don't think it's extremely like the main reason that they're having problems. I addressed that in the video as well. But I think it's inconsistency, and whatever they're doing in practice seems to not be helping. So I do think that there's some issues there.
Yeah, I can get down with that. I will say this, like, I think there's always a shift at some point. Blamar, you can't blame Joe Blamar for them not concentrating the ball in. Is there a way to change practice up to maybe adapt to that maybe he hasn't done? It could be. And I think that is an experience thing. But I don't necessarily think that EB calling the plays means that Andy's planning to retire anytime soon. I think Andy in particular is frustrated that EB has not gotten a head coaching gig yet. Because at the end of the day, that does reflect on Andy as well, especially given his track record, how many head coaches he's produced. So it's like, oh, what do I got to do to push this guy over the top so you guys will give him a job? Here, I'll let him call the plays. I think that is an aspect of it myself.
I don't disagree.
Okay. Sometimes I get out there. You never know. AP, how are you? When do the other team's D switch out of the 2 deep? I like seeing the dink and dunk, but it's got to flip back. That's the thing. When they get out of the 15, maybe 18 plays, they start looking to go deep again. So you're reinforcing teams to stay in the 2 high. I haven't seen the shell numbers yet from last night, but I felt like they got some single high stuff. But when I noticed it, it was like a cover 3 with 3 deep zones. And so that's changing it up, but you're still protecting yourself deep more than anything else too. I don't know.
Sorry. There's an engine run going on in the background. If you guys can hear that, I apologize.
Hey, it's like there's an Air Force base down the street.
Almost.
Kansas Carliner, how are you? Speaking of Ingram, do you remember bringing in a player in before the season and not being able to sign him, but then trading for him in the same year? I do not remember that scenario before.
I don't know.
Quite frankly, I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. To tell you the truth, I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
Doug, yes, if you guys would hit the like button, that always helps other Chiefs fans and football fans in general find us. People are, as the Chiefs continue to progress through, we're going to get more and more fans that weren't with us at the beginning, everyone. Lego, after that int that Thornhill got yesterday, do you think it will boost his confidence and help him forget about the knee injury? That's what Matt Derrick said on Locked On Chiefs last night. If you guys didn't get to hear that, we did record it really late. I don't know it's about forgetting the knee as just saying it's as good as it's going to get. I'm going to go for it. That's what it feels like to me.
I also don't necessarily think that he's been thinking about it so much. I think that he's just been playing, to be honest. I think he's almost, if not fully healthy at this point. And I don't think he's the fact that using him as a robber shows me that they're comfortable in his knee, and he's pretty confident in it at this point too. So that would be my opinion.
Agreed. Thank you, Boogie. Appreciate the support. Dan, take this one and I'll line up some more.
All right. Thank you for the question. Great content, guys. Thank you. We appreciate that. Draft question. Any opinions on Calvin Turner Jr., running back out of Hawaii? Unfortunately, the running backs are both the last players that Ryan and I get to for the draft because, I mean,
they're running backs.
They're running backs. So if that's what you think he has, it feels like not that top gear kind of guy. I would think probably not, but maybe we get to him. I'm not so sure if he's on day 3. We might not even get to him. But like Ryan suggested earlier, just drop us in the comment section some of your opinions of him, specifically what you see him doing on the field, and maybe we'll get to him.
Could very well be. Okay, I got a couple lined up. I'll let you start on this one while I keep getting everybody queued. This is kind of a cool feature, you guys, that I should be able to get to you.
That should work out. Thanks for the question, Frey. If I said that wrong, I apologize. Today, Andy said both Hill and Kelsey need to get back and relearn the fundamentals of catching the ball. This offense is more broken than we like to admit. I have anxiety watching bass plays. So that's the predetermined answer anytime anybody has a problem catching or doing something fundamentally wrong with football. This is something Andy says, I think he said it 3 times this year in terms of getting back to fundamentals. I don't think it has anything to do with fundamentals. I think this is just a mental thing, and he's just pushing it off like the Chiefs have always done with struggles. They don't address them properly, in my opinion. And again, we're getting closer to the parts that I rant on, so I'm going to try to not get closer. Hold it. I do think that Andy's just got a pre-recorded message for all the stuff that happens, and this is one of them in those situations.
Yeah, I'm with you. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If for whatever reason, if they concentrate more or they just work fundamentals, whatever works to fix the issue, then I'm good with that. That's what's the bottom line. Jacob, can this team get to a Super Bowl the way the offense and defense are currently playing? Yes.
No.
I think it'll be close. It'll be nerve-wracking, but I think it can be done.
I don't think it's even close yet because, one, their defense has not played a good offense that has all their weapons. We haven't seen it yet. So I still need confirmation that they can hold somebody under 30 points, like a high-powered offense under 30 points. And if you're doing this in the playoffs, the offense, if you don't get that pick 6 from the Broncos, it's still a low-scoring game. So you could still lose 21 to whatever it was you scored on offense. That's how the playoffs go. And even if as good as your defense is playing, if you can't score points, you're not going to win games. Especially because these offenses you're going to face can put up over 20 points, and the offense isn't reciprocating that.
Yeah, fair enough. The question was can, not will they? Because I'm going to say can.
I mean, can. You can always say can.
Right? What's up, Gooch? Glad you made it. If footwork isn't the problem, why does he say he needs to work on it? How do you plant your feet correctly for an accurate sidearm pass? That's the whole thing. Is especially if you go back to baseball fundamentals, they're always done on the run.
Yeah,
you generally only have 1 foot on the ground when you deliver that sidearm, throw to second base to try to turn the 2. Like it's not a 1-to-1 relationship with actually throwing the ball. It's because he has such a strong arm that he doesn't have to go back to that. So I hope that it means he has to reevaluate why he's doing it in the first place.
Hope it's so.
But that's a great question, Gooch. The fact that both of them, and I didn't see either of these pressers, so I'm glad you guys brought these up. The fact that Reed said the fundamental thing and Mahomes is talking about basics of his footwork. I mean, I'll take that as a positive that they're not saying, oh, it's just the game flow. It's just the look of the game or whatever. Like they're at least taking some responsibility that, hey, we have to work on these things. Are they saying exactly what they actually think they need to work on? I don't know.
Yeah.
But at least they're acknowledging that they have effort that they have to put in to fix things, not just this, what we got, 4 or 5 games ago. Like, oh, eventually it's going to turn around. We're confident in what we're doing. We'll get there. Like now it's like, oh, I have to go fix something. That feels like progress to me. Maximo, thank you. As always, any thoughts on why the Chiefs don't use the jet sweep as much?
I don't really know. They want to get players, their running backs, to the edge, but they don't want to hand off to their fast guys. I think it's mostly because they don't want Hill doing more of that. They want him running routes, and they don't really want to use McCole anymore. So where does it come from? I would put Byron Pringle out there and do it because he's a running back type of runner. He can make some guys miss, but they have seemed to want to become more fundamentally sound in their passing and not use jet sweeps, specifically because you don't block that defensive end on those jet sweeps typically. So it ends up being a play that comes across and then all the way around because you have to make somebody miss and then go forward. I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of a shot in the dark.
I honestly feel like teams have started to cheat it out to the outside. I think they're defending it better. And the other thing that I think teams were defending better is that the little inside tosses. We haven't seen those in forever either. And so I think that's just a reaction to what they're seeing and not feeling as comfortable about being successful with it. But I think it'll come back around as well. So
let's hope so.
Oregon, haven't been worried about 3rd and 10 for the past 3 years, but now it is worrisome. I can understand where you're coming from because even when it's executed inside the pocket, and you got to admit, the O-line's playing well. They're giving him a pocket. I mean, that was the quote problem last season, right? And now you have these other things like it's got to all come together. And I agree with you. It's worth being worried.
Yeah, like
Travis, thank you very much.
They threw the ball over 10 yards 5 times. That was it in the whole game. And I know people talk about wind. That's not going to affect a 20-yard throw. Downfield.
I still think they were doing the bare minimum to win because they did not feel truly threatened.
Yeah.
Travis, we appreciate you. Thank you. I don't think I'm going to be able to find that one because I started a while ago, but I will go dig. Keith or Kenneth, thank you again. What do you think of this one, Dan?
So if EB gets a coaching job, who will take over the office? Are we talking offensive coordinator?
Offense.
Yeah. Oh, the offense. Yeah, it's going to be Kafka unless he gets picked up too. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know the immediate replacement for that. So maybe you bring back Doug Peterson if he's ready to come back to football. I could see that being something that goes through, to be honest, because Andy has that relationship with him, and I think he was a pretty decent offensive coordinator. Just didn't work out as a head coach. Didn't like being told what to do by some of the people in Philadelphia. So I think that could be an area, if those two guys get picked up, that may come to fruition.
Yeah. My guess would be the Kafka thing. And I don't know that he's ready. So I'm pretty confident he wouldn't get an OC job yet. But I will say this. I think he'll have a little bit of support because I think you'll have, passing game coordinator Matt Nagy back on the staff.
Oh, really? You think Matt's going to be back? That's interesting.
I do. Everything I've heard from 2 sources that I trust out of Chicago this week that it's coming. So
no, the firing, yeah, but you think Andy would be like, hey, you come on back.
Yeah, I actually do.
Interesting.
Because I think Matt jumped into the deep end of the pool. I think he got a little overwhelmed. I think maybe Andy can bring that around and help him a little bit.
Okay.
That's just my thought. I like Matt Nagy, though, so maybe I'm alone.
I like Doug Peterson. Fair enough. I like Doug.
Thank you, Gooch. When you change your stance, when did you change your stance on CH? Just a few episodes ago, we were told we are not going to move on from him. Why would they move on now?
I think you misunderstood. And I know that you have another one later about the CH, so I'm going to read both of them to make sure I get the question properly. So then I can answer it for you, because he talks about this being not worded properly. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay. It was his fault. Gooch knows it was his fault. Okay, so here's the problem. Early in the season, and even to this point, the Chiefs aren't using Clyde Edwards-Helaire properly. I believe they're misusing him. They don't want to use him the way that they envisioned using him. So if you're doing a one-on-one comparison, they're looking at Jonathan Taylor right now. And that's exactly what they've been asking Clyde Edwards-Helaire to do. Get to the outside and make huge plays out of stuff that's not there. But the one difference is that in this offense, there's like 5 defenders covering deep on runs. That's not happening in Indy. So he's able to not only break off these runs, but keep going because there's no one that can really catch up to him at that point. So Clyde does not have the ability to get to the outside, to create big explosive runs. That was we've talked about that ad nauseum. It's never been his strength. I don't. My opinion is he's still the best running back on this team, but now I'm seeing a team that doesn't want to use his skill set properly, and it's been evident over the course of the last 2 years. If you take a running back in the first round, 95% of the time, it's going to be a bust. And that's not because he's not a good player. It's because you're overdrafting a player that you can get later in the draft. And it's never going to meet the expectations that you put on it, even at 32. So my stance has always been he's the best running back on this roster. Still believe it. I still think if they catered the offense to him, that he would be productive and he'd be fine. But it feels like that's not the direction they want to go with running back. And they're looking at the running backs they have on staff. That's not Jerick McKinnon. They have Derek Gore, Darrell Williams, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Not one of them can break away. Not one of them can do that.
You know, McKinnon used to be able to. I think the injuries have caught up with him.
Yeah.
I think that's problematic. But I also want to say, like, too, when I look back at this, what was it? It wasn't his great average last night, but it was 14 for 54.
Yeah.
So 3.5-ish, something like that.
Yeah. I think it's just at 4.
Is it? Okay.
Something
but
like
I mean,
that.
on the season, he's been running fine. Like he was over 5 yards a carry for the bulk of the season. So like that's productive. I would still take that just with a higher volume of play calls.
And again, they've got the run blocking to do it. And if they just ran him in between tackles more, you're seeing him get, like you said, 5-6 yards a carry, but they don't want that. They want 20. They want 30. That's what they want on the offense too, from the passing offense. So it's just, I think they overestimated what they were getting.
Yeah, or their ability to adapt to it and make it work in this offense. Thank you, Gooch. Always good points from you. I'm sure you have more. We need to see you guys, and if you guys want to hear more from Gooch, he and Stevie are on Fridays, and you can see a little bit extra from Gooch at night. Not safe for work or kids. You can catch those as well. So I hope you guys dig that. Is Dan out of the doghouse? He wasn't in the doghouse. It wasn't like he'd done something wrong. What our criticism of Dan has always been based on reality. Not that he's a bad person or that it's the fact that he's incapable of playing the things and the coverages that he's been asked to play. What this shows you that he's on the outside of the doghouse. He's standing on the porch because he's an old dog is what it is. It's really what it comes down to. You know what I mean? Yeah. But old dogs have some good tricks left in them every now and then. So I just hope that they continue to get that on a more consistent basis, and that'll make up for when they put him in a position where he can't actually perform well.
Correct.
Okay, good. I am convinced Andy and the whole called the whole Raiders game because of Gruden and how important that game was. The best called of the season yet.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I kind of feel like that too. I said it at the time. Like, he wanted to spank him. And he's like, hold on, EB. I got this. Hold my beer. You can go back to it next week.
And guess who they play Sunday? The Raiders.
Yeah. I mean, and especially if we see single high and not cover 3, I expect Andy to be like, okay, again, hold my beer. I'm going to do this. Yeah. And they'll get it done.
Yes, they will.
It's like he's a Hall of Fame coach or something, you know? Reggie, would you guys be mad if we let Mathieu walk after this year? I think we should to save cap space. Mad? There's an argument to be had on both sides. Quite frankly, it's a lot of money and you have a lot of needs, especially with Patrick's salary going up. Chris is still going to be there. You got to recover from Frankie. You got to recover from Hitch. Like, I can understand the argument. I can't say I agree with that decision, though, because you can't go find another Tyrann Mathieu out there. Even some of the kids in the draft that I like to play the robber role, it's not Tyrann Mathieu. It's not a proven commodity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's, like I said, I wouldn't be mad. I would be a little disappointed that they couldn't find some ground because I still think that he's the guy that's going to make this defense better. In the end of the day, it's not going to be a rookie, and it's not going to be him 5 years from now either. So, yeah, it's I see arguments on both sides. I just we'll see. I want Mathieu to be here next year. I'll say that.
I'm with you. All right, folks, we are T-5. We're going to run through this, and then I'm going to record the draft show for you too. If you haven't hit that yet, Locked On NFL Draft is on YouTube, but also on all of our free audio platforms as well. So check that out. Darius, thank you for the support. Appreciate it. Heard you hint at Thornhill taking Matthew's role if the contract doesn't work out. In that case, we looking for a starter through free agency or the draft? And Darius, I think you read into those lines really well. The fact that he kind of showed that, I think, is significant, because now you open your doors up. You can go free agent or draft, and you can draft somebody that is truly a free safety, or you can draft somebody to kind of take that middle role. Daxton Hill is a pretty dang good safety, but he's not a free safety.
No,
I think he's a robber / nickel. So like that then keeps Juan in that position, but he's good enough that you can do the switch off thing that he does with Mathieu. So yeah, you're okay with that one?
I mean, I'm okay then taking Daxton Hill. Like,
he's a Michigan man.
He's a Michigan guy. I'm okay.
But Darius, that was very astute, and you picked up exactly what I was laying down, man. Doug, thank you. Good question, Gooch, and great answer. Okay, rock on. Glad you're
Appreciate
happy.
it.
Thank you, Doug, as always. Gooch's got another one. Actually, I'm behind. Oh, this is the one that you were talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gooch, as always. And I'm going to pick your stuff out of here without a super chat, Just saying, it's okay.
Yeah, right.
But as always, you're the man.
Appreciate it.
Do the Chargers beat us? I'm concerned watching their offense in relation to ours.
So you watched their offense on Sunday, right? That was probably the first time you watched them in 5 weeks. And it was the one time that they were like, hey, we need to air the ball out because we're not doing it. Like they were not doing it. In the last 5 weeks, their offensive line's been hurt. It is not the same as it was when they played in week 2 or 3, whenever they played them. It's not the same team. And I don't think the Chargers can beat them specifically with that defense. The defense has not been good.
No.
I think the Bengals just tripped over themselves all game. And then Joe Burrow got hurt. His pinky couldn't let him throw the ball very well. And
it was like 4 turnovers, was it?
Yeah, they turned the ball over a ton.
Yeah, it was
that's
ridiculous.
Just not going to get it done. So
I'll tell you this: as long as you can keep Mike Williams in check, you're going to be okay. He's
Mike Williams.
It's not Mike Williams?
Not lately. I mean, like
I thought you meant like I said his name wrong. No. The thing is he is a chief killer. He has made big plays against them consistently over the years, and that's what you got to do. Take him out. Don't let Austin Eckler catch 60-yard passes out of the backfield.
Can't do that.
You're going to be okay. That's my opinion is that it's the defense that's got to control that game, and the output's going to take care of itself. Thank you, Gary. Terry, have you heard some people say that Andy is on the hot seat? I have not heard that. And whoever you heard that from, you should not listen to them anymore. There'll be no hot seat for Andy Reid. Clark Hunt is likely to sell the team before he fires Andy Reid for this season.
Andy Reid has an extension as long as he wants it. Like that's how this is going to work.
It's okay to be frustrated with the stuff that's on the field. You got to remember that ownership is thinking long term. And the fact that we're still like, hey, they could get the number 1 seed. They could still go to a Super Bowl. Like that's enough for ownership.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be happy with that. So, but I understand the frustration where you're coming from. Doug, I know Gooch, you're definitely a great piece at RGR. Of course he is. Everybody is. Aaron, Sean, Stevie Keys. Stevie Keys keeps me in check, especially about the analytics, and I appreciate that, Stevie. Jeff Porter, all of us. We all work on this because we love this team and love doing this. So thank you guys for
very much
for enjoying it and pointing it out for guys like Gooch to do it for the love. So CH, the problem, CH, is the offensive scheme problem, and it's not the arrogance of how good we have been keeping them from changing. Am I reading that all wrong?
I think you just butchered that. So the CH problem is an offensive scheme problem, and it is the arrogance of how good we have been keeping them from changing. So I think that there's some scheme issues to what they're asking Clyde to do. And again, not involving him in the passing game. He's seen one wheel route, and it was the one against the Chargers last year. There was the one time he caught it, and it was called back on a penalty. So the problem is that they won't get out of their own way, in my opinion. And we've seen last year he had 20+ yard runs multiple times. He did it against the Bills a couple times. He did it again in the opening game against the Texans. Like he's done it before, so it's there. But again, like they're just not scheming it right. And then for some reason, my theory is like that with all the passing coverages, it's preventing him from getting into the third level of the defense because they're so far back, and linebackers are so far back that you can't rip off those runs. Like if you watch Jonathan Taylor at Indy, no one's worried about Carson Wentz. They're not changing their style of defense because Carson Wentz is there. So you have guys in the box. And when you have more guys in the box and you block it properly, that's less guys to go get you. And you can rip off those bigger runs. My theory is that this passing offense is preventing the 20-yard runs. He's not going to get 50+ yard touchdowns because he doesn't have that speed. But he could get to 20 or 30 yards at times if they were stuck in the box. But they're not doing that.
Yeah. I'm with you.
It's all theory. I don't have any proof to back that up. It's just a theory.
I love that little motion route they did with him last night. Like I think they need to get more creative with him. Yeah. And if they do that, I think he's going to be able to get near to what we had hoped for him, to tell you the truth. Thank you, as always, Gooch. Mike, Breece Hall in the third. Why not? Because it's a third-round pick, Mike.
Yeah, they're not going to touch running back until day 4 or day 3. Excuse me.
I like Breece Hall though. Like
there's another Toledo running back that I like.
Oh yeah, okay. In the 4th, definitely in the 5th, I could live with it. 3rd, top 100 picks are not for running backs, in my opinion.
Not with this linebacker you need, probably corner, need some wide receiver help. Like they just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kenneth, thank you again. You are on fire tonight. I'm glad Nick Bolton got the start at middle linebacker over Hitchison, sorry. It is Hutchinson. No, I can't remember. Hitchens is what I'm trying to say. Good Lord, I cannot read tonight. But Bolton needs to be on the field more, and so does Willie. I agree. I was glad to see Nick at the start. I know it's just the part that's on the television. It doesn't really mean anything.
You say go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Good job, kiddo. Good job. I like that. The problem is the Hitch actually outsnapped Nick by quite a bit. It was 41-22. Night.
Everybody say hi.
Yes. Everybody. Yes, you said night. Good job. But here's the cool part. Is despite that incongruity, the fact is that Willie Gay got the most snaps of any linebacker. And that's what has to happen. I am totally with you there. And yes. I think Nick will grow into it. I also love the idea of them adding another athletic linebacker like Devin Lloyd. Because if it's Willie, Lloyd, and Nick in the middle, that's a recipe for taking away the second level. And I like that.
Yeah, that's what they need. If they're going to have Nick Bolton be the middle linebacker, you have to surround him with athletic linebackers that can do different things than he can. And so you can take him off the field in third down situations.
And that includes a strong safety that can drop down and take that place as well. Like that, the athleticism around him can help him be that centerpiece and really fulfill his potential.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kenneth. As always.
Appreciate that, man.
Gooch got another one. I like it. Why does Gay keep coming off the field on third down? He has a speed to cover, and the recovery is he can't flip his hips as fast enough. I didn't see him come off on a lot of third downs. I'm trying to look.
I think it was more towards the end of the game where he was.
Oh, was he? Okay. He did let 2 plays get behind him where he just didn't have the lateral awareness. And I think that might be part of it. I think it's more just about the fact that they trust Neiman and Sorensen on third down.
They're going to beat that horse until the end of the season. That's what they're going to do.
I think so. And it allows them to keep Willie, Nick, and Hitch fresh too. So like I can see that part of the argument.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it comes down to, Gooch. All right, folks, we got a couple more super chats, and we are going to wrap it up as we are overtime. That's not a trademark, I swear. Strictly for the best thing that happened today, Baby Harms.
Yeah, she is something else. Something else, man.
Yeah, she's got a personality, man. You're in trouble.
Yeah, I know. The blonde hair and the blue eyes isn't going to help either.
No. It probably won't. Thank you, Gooch, as always. You the man.
Appreciate you, Gooch.
And I got an idea for you too. I need to get with you next week. Offensive line so far, top 5 as of now. Your thoughts? I'm really pleased with the way it's come together. It took longer than I thought it would. But Orlando had PFF said it was the best game. I thought he had the second best game after Creed yesterday.
Yeah, I agree.
They only gave up 2 pressures on the day.
Yeah, I know, don't take it for what it's worth. It's a PFF grade. They both in the run blocking and pass protection were graded for over an 80 on the entire offensive line. And that matched with the eye test for me. It matched with the eye test. So they've been excellent. And yes, they're a top 5 offensive line right now.
I mean, Orlando left the stadium last night saying, Bradley who? Because Chubb was not a factor. And I think that's what tells you. That's going to wrap it for us tonight, guys. I'm going to do the draft show. You can always check that out as well. Dan will be back tomorrow with a rant. I think you're going to dig it. I'm looking forward to seeing it as well. Should be fun.
Have to contain myself.
Deep breaths. It's going to be all right.
That's why I feel great, because I just went for almost 20 minutes and I'm just I'm going to do it and I'm going to feel better about it. And I did.
Come enjoy the catharsis with Dan. I'm sure he'll say a lot of things that you all would like to say as well. But thank you for everyone for all the super chats tonight, for all of you new members. We've had a lot of fluctuation with the members lately. If you're considering it, jump in there and try it out. See what you think. If you do, hit me at RGR Podcast on Gmail so I can get you added to the Discord there if you're rookie and above. Thank you to all the contributors, everybody that works on this channel, including Aaron, Stevie,
so much,
Gooch, of course, Sean, Jeff Porter. I don't know if Jeff's here tonight, but I wanted to mention him as well because that appearance on the huddle was fun. So, and Stevie Keys member asks, 1 year, well done. When is the Discord for all pros? I have to schedule that. I am aiming at Tuesdays. I'll try to get it done tomorrow night. It'll be the same 6 p.m. golden hour for us. I do have one conflict left on the schedule with the family thing, so I'm going to try to get that, Aaron. Look for a community post, and I'll let you guys know if we're on, and you'll see it in the Discord. It will be Discord only, though, folks, so if you want to get in on it, join the memberships at Rookie, and then let us know your email. You guys have a great night. Dan, thanks for making it happen tonight.
Thank you, guys. You all have a great night. Go Chiefs. They got that 5th win in a row.
Knock on wood. We'll be back later, and we'll look ahead at the next Raiders contest as well. Seth should be back on Thursday night this week, too. So
who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. Everybody have a great week. We'll talk to you next time.